And in direct violation of the Constitution, he's taken money from foreign governments and threatened to shut down news organizations that report the truth. If that isn't a case for impeaching and removing a dangerous president, then what has our government become? I'm Tom Steyer, and like you, I'm a citizen who knows it's up to us to do something. It's why I'm funding this effort to raise our voices together and demand that elected officials take a stand on impeachment. A Republican Congress once impeached a president for far less. Yet today, people in Congress and his own administration know that this president is a clear and present danger, who's mentally unstable and armed with nuclear weapons. And they do nothing. Join us and tell your member of Congress that they have a moral responsibility to stop doing what's political and start doing what's right. Our country depends on it.
Wait, hold on, brother. If you really want to know what's going on, listen to STMK Radio 100. They keep it real and they stopping the madness.
This is Christina in Savannah. I listen to STMK Radio 100 on my way home from work. Every Thursday, they keep it 100.
You want to know how to stop the madness? Listen to STMK Radio 100 and keep it 100.
STMK Radio 100.
Stop the madness. Keep it 100. The best talk show on the web is here on STMK Radio 100 with your hosts, Sean L., Let, and Tone the Stone. Come join us from 6 to 8 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. Stop the madness. Keep it 100 with live call-ins, heated discussions about current events, politics, national news, weather, and sports. Join our live online chat room and let your opinion show. Download our phone app. Stop the madness. Keep it 100 on STMK Radio 100. Come join us from 6 to 8 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. The best talk show on the web is here on STMK Radio 100. Call us at 1-866-484-7865. That's 1-866-484-STMK. Stop the madness. Keep it 100.
STMK Radio 100. You're listening to Stop the Madness, Keep It 100 with your hosts, Sean L., Let, and Tone the Stone on STMK Radio 100.
Yes, this is a PSA, a public street announcement. You are now listening to a kickback production. Light up your L's, lean back, and listen.
Author's note. The reason to write this book could not be more obvious. With the inauguration of Donald Trump on January 20th, 2017, the United States entered the eye of the most extraordinary political storm since at least Watergate. Stephen K. Bannon 3 weeks later. The events I've described in these pages are based on conversations that took place over a period of 18 months with the president, with most members of his senior staff, some of whom talked to me dozens of times, and with many people who they in turn spoke to. The interview occurred well before I could have imagined the Trump White House, much less a book about it. It took place in late May 2016 at Trump's home in Beverly Hills. The then candidate polishing off a pint of Haagen-Dazs vanilla as he happily and idly opined about a range of topics.
Good evening and welcome to Stop the Madness and Keep It 100. I'm your host, Sean L. In Studio 51 with me tonight, I got the Diamond Boy himself, Tone the Stone. What's up, Tone the Stone?
What up, Sean? What up, everybody? What up, Sax? What up, Jay? What up, Stop the Madness, Keep It 100?
Our man on the beat, Saxman, is in the house with us.
What's happening, Sean? What you know what you say?
Oh, man, you know you got it going real good.
All right, what's up, Tom?
And
What's
right there, we got the main man, the man to get all the gossip out of the shop. We got Jay Mack in the house with us. Jay, what's up?
Mike, check how everybody doing. What's up, Tom?
Just fine, Jay. Quick, pull in. Just pull in a little bit.
Pull in a little bit.
Yeah, there you go.
That sound a little better. Okay.
There you go.
What's up, my man, Sean L?
You got it, Jay Mack. Jay,
man.
hey, let me, before we start today, we was going to talk about that explosive book, but so much is going on right here. But before we do get into the book and talk about that, I want to ask everybody right now, the breaking news is that we are on the verge of a shutdown. Tone the Stone. The millennial man, do you think?
I ain't going to be able to go get my yearly physical at the VA if the shutdown happens,
Do you think we're going to shut down?
Ain't no telling. I mean, it's the last few years. I haven't heard about this until Obama got in office. Maybe it's something that's been happening. Maybe you older fellas are a little more familiar. But I haven't really ever heard of this until Obama was in office. So now, the last 8 years, and now that Trump's in office, it seems like something that comes up every year. Whether
because
or not
it hasn't
happens
happened.
or not.
It's not going to happen. It's just a
Well,
scare.
No, it's happened at least one time. I remember.
It happened when Obama was in office. Also, Ted Cruz did. But the problem is that Congress won't do their responsibility and pass a budget.
Right.
That's the problem. We're doing crisis management here.
These politicians are like children, man.
Right. We're going every 6 months trying to get a budget instead of doing the budget for the year and be done with it.
If they don't get their way, nobody gets nothing. That's how they operate.
Well, that's how it's been.
But Jay Mack, you sitting right there with all the gossip coming in, and I know you get the business. What's the word in the shop, man?
Yeah.
Honestly, the young brothers in there ain't talking about that.
What they talking about?
Garbage.
Huh?
Oh man, see, well, you got to change that, man. You got to start getting them to talk about it.
You know what you're gonna have to do, Jay? I just thought of it. Before you leave the shop every day to come here, or when we come here, you got to put it on. You got to put it on.
Make them come to us.
Make sure they listening to it. Whoever left in the shop, make sure they listening to it.
Yeah, hey, you know what
they
you
got to
do?
get it somehow.
Honestly, it gets kind of frustrating sometimes trying to have intelligent.
Come up a little bit.
Trying to have intelligent conversations with these young brothers, man. And it gets kind of frustrating
because they got that one-track mind, right?
One-track mind.
But I'm gonna say this because I did the Martin Luther King thing this weekend, and I did some workshops with some millennial people and some young people. And the problem I'm finding out with our young people is that they're not being educated about what's going on, and that's a big issue right there. Being educated, what's going on in the millennial world. Our millennials feel that our parents has failed them, and they feel like their vote don't count. And when you feel like that, you're not going to participate in the program. And listening to the young kids, they are eager to get involved because of Obama and them. But the middle-aged kids, they're out there on Facebook. They're out there with their they left Facebook. They're on Snapchat, Instagram, and they're not thinking about their responsibility or what it's costing them. But, everybody from Memphis is in the chat room. Memphis, Savannah, D.C., who was going to tune in to our criminal case series, ID series. We had to do a change up there. The case we was going to do, Charles Lucas versus the state of Ohio, went to trial, and right now he's before a jury, so we can't broadcast the
That's
show out.
Very interesting case.
But we are going to do that case because it's going to come one way or the other. It's either going to come with an acquittal or it's going to come with a conviction, and we're going to bring the case back up.
It's going to be ugly.
But I want to talk about this book, and Tone, this book right here has started a fight. Number one thing is Trump has made this the number one fast-selling book in American history.
Yes,
Hey, that's a good thing for the writer and those people, the publishing company. But
I mean, this is some of the quotes that was in there. Early in the campaign, in a producer-worthy scene, Sam Newberg was sent to explain the Constitution to the candidate. I got as far as the Fourth Amendment before his finger is pulling down his lip and his eyes are rolling back in his head.
you know, that's how the kids be in school. They just bored out of their mind or they disinterested. They don't know what to do with themselves.
Right.
So what they're saying is that he doesn't read and he doesn't understand.
And he doesn't care about the role that he's supposed to be representing.
Do you realize that the White House and under Trump is like his show, The Apprentice?
It is.
That's exactly how he's running this. He's running the White House like
about the book. Did you hear they got a TV deal for the book?
right. The book hasn't even been out a week yet. You can't even get it in hardback.
Oh my God!
They sold out.
Yeah, I went to the library, went everywhere. You can't find it.
They sold out 20 million books in hardback. You got to get it. I got it on Audible.
On Audible, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I get Audible free, so we got it on Audible. The only problem is now Audible is not letting you download it. You can bring it into your computer and get it if you got an account with Audible, but you can't actually physically take it from Audible.
Why not? If you pay for it.
No, they won't let you download it.
Come on.
If you download it, it's disabled wherever it goes.
Really?
We
so
tried.
try to stop the piracy or whatever. Okay.
Then you look at this another quote. The Trump administration. This is the part that gets me with the book. The Trump administration said, remember that there was nobody talked to Russia. Okay. In the book, it says the meeting between Don Jr., Paul Manafort, and Jared Kushner was treason. And this is a man that was sitting by Trump's right-hand side. Okay.
Wow.
Bannon.
Bannon, yeah.
Second best quote in the book. Once coming back on the plane with a billionaire friend who Trump has brought along a foreign model. Trump's trying to move in on his friend's date. Remember what he said? He always liked the women. I'm going to get a quote out of the book because I want everybody to notice how Trump tried to hit on his friend's women. But I'm going to come back to that. Y'all remember that?
Wow.
And it says that
Is that surprising?
Trump, here go the quote. Let me go back. Once coming back on his plane with a billionaire friend who had brought along a foreign model, Trump tried to move in on his friend's date, urging a stop in Atlantic City. You know where he going. You know where he going to Atlantic City right there.
Yeah.
His hotel and casino.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, the freak
Penthouse
move.
suite.
Right. He would provide a tour of his casino. His friend assured the model that there was nothing to recommend Atlantic City to anybody. So his friend already realized, hey, he hitting on my girl. He trying to get her to Atlantic City. No, we don't want to go to Atlantic City.
Right.
So his friend assured her there's nothing in Atlantic City to see. It was a place overrun by white trash. The model asked, "What is white trash?" Asked the model. "They are people just like me," said Trump. "Only they're poor."
Oh my God.
Hey, you know what, man?
Keep it real, though.
The more I think about it, man, Trump is a hilarious character. He's great for entertainment and all that stuff, you know. But there's got to be some type of rule set up in place where people like him, they don't even qualify.
They needed him in office. They needed him.
Well,
because he's a distraction from the big picture.
Exactly.
Right, but you know what?
But in the meantime, he's wreaking havoc.
Right, but you know why Trump's in office? Come on, everybody. We got to keep it real, okay? Trump is in office because of the hate of Barack Obama the last 4 years. If it wasn't for Obama, Trump wouldn't be in office right now. And if Hillary Clinton and I'm gonna say this to
Go
all the
ahead,
Democrats.
say it.
If Hillary Clinton would have did, she knew she was gonna run for office. She created this problem of her dishonesty and having a private server. She should have done the right thing.
And that Benghazi situation, because I had a problem with that.
Well, I don't have a problem with Benghazi.
I had a problem.
I don't have a problem with Benghazi for two reasons. We spent $175 million on Benghazi. We didn't find one thing out about Benghazi. But what we do know is when Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama asked for money for security for our embassies around there,
that's right.
they said no.
Right. That's the problem I
Now,
got with that.
the problem that I have with Benghazi is that they sent an ambassador with 5
CIA guys.
No, they weren't CIA guys. They was those Blackwater guys, private security.
Right, private security.
Okay,
right, exactly.
into a hostile area where they knew they had no backup and no help.
And they had to use the locals to help them.
But that ain't the way it's supposed to be.
I know it.
Our
don't.
ambassadors are supposed to go into secured areas. So if we, if we,
that's the problem I have, Sean.
If we know we can't help you, and we know we 24 hours out, and you in a firefight, we 24 hours out.
Right.
Come on, you done.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So Obama and Hillary Clinton has to own up to that for allowing them to for saying, Tone, you and Jay can go over there. They should have said no.
Right.
But the embassy they was at, I'm gonna say this too in the investigation, was a CIA outpost where they was trafficking weapons. Okay. So maybe, just maybe, the CIA's at fault for all this, for having trafficking weapons unknowingly to people over there fighting the Taliban and ISIS, and it turned around against them. But one thing we do know, Sax, to get to your point is that Hillary Clinton sat there for 13 hours and went through the drilling, and they couldn't find anything on her. Okay, so I don't mind that investigation. It ain't like Trump. Trump is not going down there to sit for 16 hours before the House and get drilled. He'd be done the first 5 minutes.
Well, that's because Trump doing everything I know open, letting you see what he is. He's not hiding crap. The only thing he's hid, only thing he hid is the deal he made with Russia. But everything else is out open.
He had more than that. You know what Trump did? You know what the problem is right here? Trump wasn't colluding with the Russians to win the election. I'm going back on the whole investigation.
Really?
Trump has been laundering money and taking money from the Russians oligarchs, and that's how he's been keeping his business.
Well, see, think about it. It's all about trade.
It's all about money.
Yeah, but see,
Greenleaf.
They also got something that we want. We want something. They got something we want.
What we want from Russia? Russia ain't got nothing the United States need. Now,
Yeah.
Trump needed them because with no American bank financed Trump or back his adventure. So Trump had to get money from the Russian oligarchs to stay on there. Jared Kushner's tied up with the Russian oligarchs. It's going to come back. That's why Trump didn't release his taxes. Okay? Trump is very smart. That's why he didn't release his taxes. And guess what? He didn't have to release his taxes because the hate, you see Jay sitting right there with his beard set up. That's a Muslim.
Yeah.
That's a Muslim.
Yeah.
Look at Tony Stone over here, little yellow light-skinned boy. That's a Mexican.
That's a thug.
No, I don't want him to be the thug. I'm going to be the thug.
Oh, you gonna
He's
be
the
thug?
Mexican.
He's
He's the one coming over here stealing your jobs.
Right.
He's the reason you can't get that new Chevy out there.
Right.
He's the one that your wages ain't there.
Right,
Okay?
right.
Now you come back to us. We thugs. That
Right.
way the police, we love our first responders.
Right.
We love the police.
Right.
And we come back to that. That's how they keep everybody off guard while they sitting over here with the money. Look at all the people that nobody even asked about or looking at.
But that's every Republican strategy, though. So how did Trump?
No, but that's not every Republican strategy. See what we doing, Tom? We're normalizing it. The Republicans love money, okay, and the Republicans love to get kickback from money, and they love to help big businesses out, but they want their money legally, and they want to rape society while they doing it. The oil company
Rape
going
society. They just take everything out of programs.
Trump is dealing illegally. He can't get no money, so he's going to the mob.
Well, no, I'm not talking about that. I was talking about the political, the campaign, the political strategy.
But see, the political.
They all campaign on fear. That's their strategy.
Right. The campaign on the fear thing. Right. I agree with you.
Yes, they do.
That's why they want
Bush,
Trump there. Trump's a figurehead. See, I'm going to a different level.
We're gonna get tough on drugs.
What you said makes sense though. Like it's all about the money with him in Russia, because even if the Russians they're not that powerful to sway a whole election for him, for this one person.
Right, right. But no, they did in a way.
They got the technology.
Wait a minute, no,
they can influence, but they can't guarantee him the election.
They did in a way. They did in a way, and this is how they did it. 47% of America didn't vote. So everybody has to understand this when they talk about Trump's base. Trump has a base of 35%. Okay, 47% of America didn't vote. Okay, so now Trump's base is only 23.3%. Hillary beat him by more than 5 million votes.
But a popular vote.
And then you look at where they did the voter suppression. Remember last week, J. Mac, we talked about cross-check, moving people off the rolls. Now, and this is go back to the Republicans, what I was saying before. Trump is dealing with mafia people, money, control, casinos, cash flow, buying apartments and all that. And that's how Russia's making their money, because they're bringing their money over here, laundering it into American money where they can spend it anywhere. They can't spend their money just anywhere, but they got to bring it over here. Okay, if you remember the lawsuit, that's why they fired all the attorney generals and all them, because we found out that the Russians was buying all these properties in New York, and you're talking about $100 million that the United States was going to confiscate, okay? And Trump got in, and guess what Trump did? He settled the suit for $5 million and gave him all the money and property back, okay? So you have to look at where the money's rolling. Now, you have to look at, for the Republicans right here, is yes, they fearmonger. And the way they fearmonger is, it goes back to the 1861s of the Bacon Rebellion, and I go back to that, and I go to George Wallace, and I go back to what everybody was talking about. If you make J. Mac, and I love J. Mac sitting here with his people. We got the man from the shop that got the plan, and he going to really let you know. If you tell J. Mac that he is the best barber, regardless if he's not, and he can be the sorriest barber, but because he is a certain color, he's the best barber to anybody over there. And when they told the poorest white man, and this is something George Wallace and them said, is that the poorest white man was better than any man of color, even if it was LeBron James. Because you know why? That colored man is just a N-word, okay? And you're not. You're the best. That's how they get you. That's how they keep that base in West Virginia. That's how they keep that. That's why the base is there now. And that's why the people saying. And we're going to talk about that in Free Fall Thursday, where the girl from Alabama posted the video. Okay? Think about this. I came up, and Jake Mack said his age last week, so I'm not going to say it again. But I know Saxman, the old man here.
Oh.
I came up during Jim Crow era. I couldn't go into certain neighborhoods. I couldn't go into certain restaurants. I couldn't go up in the Little Italy.
None of us can go up in Little Italy.
So
I couldn't come around here probably.
Right. But the kids are not as.
Yeah, Waterloo. Yeah.
But J Mac, come in just a little bit, so when you say something, the kids, put the mic up to you, man. There you go. Pull it down a little bit. There you go, and talk into it.
That sound better.
Yeah, you good now.
Okay.
But see, what it is that the kids now hasn't experienced that. Okay, in Collinwood up around here, they couldn't walk the streets over there around Mandalay and stuff.
No, we couldn't. My first day of school, my father said, "Do not walk that way."
When I went to South High School, it was like 20% black when I went to South High School.
So when you
off
look
of Broadway,
right? So when you look at this,
right.
When you look at this Tony Stone, and you see how they get the races there, and you see now that the races has come back and they outspoken now because there's a demographic that is leaving, okay, and their grandkids are not growing up like them, and that's elderly white males that has hate in their heart, and they see something slipping away, and that's why they talk about the good old days. You remember the Republican senator said the good old days was when we was back in slavery, and the black people was in chains, okay, and everybody was happy. Well, I guess everybody was happy, okay. Except the people that was in chains.
Exactly.
You look at what Trump's calling our nations shithole nations, Africa. Those people came over here in bottoms of ships, chained, and they built this nation. Okay?
Shitholes.
And they didn't ask to come here.
Right.
Okay? Some black mans came here free and educated from England. And what everybody don't understand is that when the black mans came here from England, under the law and the English law, you couldn't enslave a British citizen, and if you did, that was a death sentence, okay? That's why the blacks were allowed up north and to move around. And remember, they did the movie about the free black man, and then he went down south, and they kidnapped and put him in chains.
Yeah, that was a 12 years a slave. I
Right.
hated that movie. It was just, oh my
Well,
God.
and then you go back to roots and you go back to all this stuff. But I found out, like I was saying, when we was doing Martin Luther King Day and we was doing the workshops, I found out that our kids are not being properly educated on our history. That's the whole failure right there.
But that's white kids too, though.
Also. Well, I understand it.
History's not being taught in schools how it used to be taught.
Right, proper education. But see, I don't want to go to other races and other kids because
I understand.
Our race and our kids are the ones that's being affected the most because they don't have any identification to themselves, so they can latch on to make them want to step up. You got to have a hero. You got to have something that
Let me tell you this.
They got a hero. They got LeBron.
Exactly. Oh my God.
And LeBron's taking good care of them.
Yeah, that's the only hero they got.
But LeBron's only taking care of kids in Akron. I mean, he's doing a hell of a job. But go ahead, J Mac.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he went to UCLA, a major college. His major was Black History. He said he learned more his rookie year. What was the guy he played with? The veteran he won a ring with?
Wilt.
No, not Wilt.
Magic Johnson?
Elgin Baylor?
No, Baylor. He said he learned more about Black history his rookie year with
Elgin Baylor?
Yeah. He did in 4 years at UCLA.
Wow.
Well, but see, you know what? It starts Black history. Now I'm getting ready to tell my age, but Black history actually started in elementary school. Okay, and if you remember back in school, they took you through the steps of in the book. You went from when the British and England came over here and Thanksgiving.
Well, you know what, Sean? It should start at home. The minute you start talking, like what proud families have, their kids, they raise their kids with a sense of their family history and pride and
right.
And not only themselves and their heritage, but their family history and everything. So if you before your kid ever goes off to any school, that sense of pride and heritage and stuff being instilled in him at home.
It used to be.
But see, you have to go back there again.
It used to be.
Go back there again, and I go back to our history again. When they started breaking down the structure of the family, okay? When they started removing the family structure, the males from the family, started breaking up the family.
Religion,
this goes all the way back to the 50s, okay? And this was by design when they had to educate the African. And you have to understand, they didn't educate the African to be free thinkers. They educated the Africans to stay within a capitalist system, to be manipulated, to need them, okay? So when this happens, you have to go back into that. We, as the village, and I always go say the village, have to take something in consideration. There's no family structure there. That's why the church can no longer be silent. Everybody's asking the question, why is the church quiet, okay? The church needs that voice and come back into the community and open that voice up to take the place of the family. In the 60s, black males were either going to Vietnam, going to jail, dying, and they wasn't there with the family because if the family was there, you couldn't get any social help.
And then they came back strung out.
Right, and then they came back. But see, that was by design also okay? Because the Nixon administration lied to the American people for so long.
That's right.
Johnson, a Democrat, lied for so long. This is why our kids have to understand voting and understand Democrat. We only have two systems, Republican, Democrats, okay? Third-party systems do not work. Okay, I'm gonna say this. I know everybody mad and everything because when you start going third party, you take away from one of the two system there, and that's how Trump got in office. That's how Hillary got beat. Okay, 10 million people voted third party. Okay, another 10, 12 million people, 47% didn't come out and vote at all. Then you had the cross-check program that took another 5 million people off the rolls. Period. Okay. And that case is still in the Supreme Court, okay? And that's going to be voter suppression on steroids, whichever way that ruling comes out. If it comes out for the state of Ohio, every state in the United States is going to pull it except California. So when you look at that, you have to ask yourself, why are we, the village, allowing this to take place? So we have to tell our kids to, okay, who's going to look out for our interests?
Well, you know what I think in this day and age? I think that with all of the technology, with all of the information we have at our fingertips, it's not that they're not being educated. Maybe the schools, definitely not getting it there because most of them, especially these public schools, are failing anyway. And when you come to these charter schools, ain't no telling what they teaching up in there. But it's not that the education and knowledge isn't there. They know it. They know it. It's once again, I think this is like my common thing. It's about what people want for themselves. Like, so we talk about having heroes. Like, I can find out a different black historical person who with a great achievement every day if I wanted to. Like if I just Googled every day, I can find out somebody new
about their interest.
Historical. Yeah, it's about people being.
But you know who your hero actually
what they
is?
want to do. What they want to know.
But your hero is the one who step in front of you every day, either your father, your mother, your sister, your brother, somebody who instills in you to keep this going. That's what happens in the community. Somebody has to come in that you want to follow. In my era, it was Reverend Dixon and all them who was older than me.
You gotta be inspired.
That was stepping up to make me step up.
These people, these kids that y'all talk about, they're not inspired. They're not inspired to do nothing. Well, all they want to do.
Well, Tom, who was out there to inspire them? Who? Their age or 10 years older? Who?
I know. For me personally, I had men in my family I could look up to, and then I had guidance. I come from a good, sound family structure. I had that stuff instilled in me. But I can't speak for everybody else. Eventually I was inspired. I was still a knucklehead. I say it every show. I was a knucklehead even with my the values that were instilled in me in the structure, this family structure I had. 100%. I had to go out for myself and be like, nah, this is what I want to do. I want to go this path. Until I was inspired to know for myself that it was a better way for me. So that's what it's going to take for everybody. You can't force feed nobody, really.
Well, that's true. These kids today, number one, they're not sociable. That's number one.
That's because social media took them out.
They have no social skills whatsoever. Number one, they don't have no tolerance. Number two, they can't sit with you for 5 minutes and listen to constructive criticism without blowing up. So
but some of them can, though, Sax. Jay cut hair. He cut hair every day. I know I've been in his shop. This is a role model right here. Those young dudes that come, they're athletes. They go to the schools around here. They look up to Jay. They listen to him, and he talk to him. He try to talk some sense to him about keep on the right path in school.
You know why?
And
because
sports.
They see him as being somebody.
Jay inspires them. Those kids.
And number one, they see him as being somebody. He's in the shop. And he's cutting hair. They see him as that person.
Right, as that But you know what, Jay?
I'm glad you said that because that makes a lot of sense.
That's why they'll do that.
But you know what, Jay? We're gonna have to get you with one of your millennials and bring him in here. Because I found something out when we was at the Martin Luther King workshops, talking to those young people, and I'm gonna say this to the activists out there, all the activists. I don't care if you on one side, the other side, Black Lives Matter. I don't care where you at. The kids see good and righteousness, okay? They don't see evil. They don't see all that, okay? That's not taught. And I'll talk to some young white kids that was playing with young black kids, and they didn't know they weren't supposed to play together.
Right.
And they don't have that in them. So it comes from the environment they're in.
Taught.
It's taught to them.
Right.
So when you look at this and you see these young kids, they do not understand why the activists are separating things. Look at the shooting that just took place Saturday at the bowling alley, okay?
Yeah.
The activists thought one thing, come to find out that it was something else, okay? And we're not talking about the shooting. I'm just talking about the person to get the thing, okay? They don't know what to do right now, okay? And we said it last week. You got to come out on City Hall steps regardless what it is, okay? And we ought to have to do that. But get back to the book right here, another famous quote. I want to say this.
We kind of went way off the
we always get off the thing in our discussions because we always go in there.
That's Tone's fault.
And that happens, our internet broadcast on internet radio, they know we get serious when we get into it.
We talk about it
but
all.
On the most basic level, Trump just did not get it, and that's what Spicer was saying. But what made this book number one seller was when Trump's attorney sent a cease and desist order to them, and it blew up. But we went out and we talked with Michael Wolff, gave us some statements. So right now, without further ado, let's listen to Wolff himself. A presidential theory prompts Wolff book to number one, selling out in hours online and in bookstores. Fire and Fury, Inside the Trump's White House, is a 2018 book by Michael Wolff, which detailed the behavior of the United States President Donald Trump and his staff of his 2016 presidential campaign and White House. The book highlights unflattering descriptions of Donald Trump's behavior, a chaotic interaction among senior White House staff, and nasty comments about the Trump family by former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon. Trump is described as being held in low regards by his White House staff, leading Wolff to state that 100% of the people around him believe Trump is unfit for that office. The title refers to a quote by Trump about the conflict with North Korea. The book became number one bestseller in e-print, ebooks, and audiobooks on Amazon.com and the Apple iBook store after experts, news media people, and the reports were released on January 3rd. On January 4th, a lawyer for Trump sent a cease and desist letter to the author and publisher in an attempt to stop the book publication. Instead, Henry Ho and the company defied the threat by Trump, moved the publication date up to January 5th, citing demands, and by January 8th had sold or received orders for more than 2 million books. Fire and Fury, best book out, describing Donald Trump and his White House. Tonight on Stop the Madness, Keep It 100, you will hear Wolff in his own words as he talks with Sean L. about Fire and Fury.
They said that yesterday before they actually had read the book, but actually what I say is where do I send the box of chocolates? Absolutely. I mean, and not only is he helping me sell books, but he's helping me prove the point of the book. I mean, this is extraordinary that a president of the United States would try to stop the publication of a book. This doesn't happen, has not happened from other presidents, would not even happen from a CEO of a mid-sized company. I absolutely spoke to the president. Whether he realized it was an interview or not, I don't know, but it certainly was not off the record. I spoke to him after the inauguration, yes, and I had spoken to, I've spent about 3 hours with the president over the course of the campaign in the White House. So my window into Donald Trump is pretty significant. But even more to the point, I spent, and this was really sort of the point of the book, I spoke to people who spoke to the president on a daily, sometimes minute-by-minute basis. So this book was really, in a sense, there was one question on my mind when I began this book. What is it like to work with Donald Trump? How can you work with Donald Trump? And what is the, how do you feel having worked with Donald Trump? You know, I think one of the things we have to count on is that Donald Trump will attack. He will send lawyers letters. This is a 35-year history of how he approaches everything. My credibility is being questioned by a man who has less credibility than perhaps anyone who has ever walked on Earth at this point.
So are all the people around the president talking about him?
Let me put a marker in the sand here. 100% of the people around him. Every time and I want to be careful about who I spoke to, because the nature of this kind of book is you kind of grant everyone a veil. But having said that, certainly Jared and Ivanka in their current situation, which is in a deep legal quagmire, are putting everything on the president. Not us, it's him. I will tell you the one description that everyone gave, everyone has in common. They all say he is like a child. And what they mean by that is he has a need for immediate gratification. It's all about him. I mean, this letter for this cease and desist letter, I mean, I still have sources in the White House, and I know everybody was going, we should not be doing this. This is not smart. And he just insists. He just has to be satisfied in the moment. They say he's a moron, an idiot. Actually, there's a competition to sort of get to the bottom line here of who this man is. Let's remember, this man does not read, does not listen. So he's like a pinball, just shooting off the side in a shortening period. So they've all tracked this, that it used to be, I know people would point out that in the beginning it was like every 25 or 30 minutes you would get the same 3 stories repeated. Now it's the same 3 stories in every 10 minutes. I will quote Steve Bannon. He's lost it.
If I left out anything, it's probably stuff that was even more damning.
It's that bad. It's really that bad.
I mean, it's an extraordinary moment in time, and the last several days focused on my book, I think, are proof of this. This is what happened here. What's going on here? This is, I think, not an exaggeration and not unreasonable. It's not unreasonable to say this is 25th Amendment kind of stuff. Yes, actually, they would say we're not sort of in the mid period. We're not at a 25th Amendment level yet, or they would. This is alarming in every way. And then this went on. Okay, this is a little 25th Amendment. So 25th Amendment is a concept that is alive every day in the White House. There was an interesting thing that in all of this weird stuff that has gone on for the last number of days. An interesting thing that I especially noticed was yesterday, this morning, John Kelly was questioned about these wackadoo tweets. He said, "Oh, I didn't see them." I'm going to just say, like hell, he didn't see them.
The president has tried to put this book is about Steve Bannon. So let me say very forthrightly, this book is not about Steve Bannon. This book is about Donald Trump. As for Steve Bannon, and I spoke to Steve as I spoke to many people throughout the length of the reporting here, and really saw a transformation, not only of Steve, but of everyone. But Steve, in a way, is most vivid, or his language is the most vivid. Was, we thought this presidency could work. We thought Donald Trump is an interesting, unique character, and we might be able to do something here. And they saw him over that time come to the conclusion he cannot do this job.
Your former editor of Vanity Fair said he wasn't surprised that you wrote the book, and he's not surprised what's in it, but he was surprised that they let you in the White House.
No, I'm a nice guy. I go in. I certainly said what was ever necessary to get the story.
Michael Wolff, Fire and Fury, thank you for being here with us tonight. We'll stop the madness. Keep it 100. In the chat room for D Knows, let's go check on Sheila and see what they're saying about Michael Wolff's Fire and Fury, which has the GOP looking for blood and Trump going wild in the White House. Sheila, I see smoke coming out of the chat room. Is it on fire? Tell us what the GOP bullet points are now.
And pundits on both sides of the aisle are now questioning the credibility and the accuracy of Wolff's latest book. I don't think that that's true. Read a few. So talking bullet number 1, Steve Bannon is no longer an administration official. That's true. His actions this week prove that he is working to serve himself, not the goals of the administration or the best interests of the American people. Bullet number 2 of the RNC's weekend talking points that Brian Stelter got control of about Michael Wolff's book, Fire and Fury. Bullet number 2. Meanwhile, White House and administration officials are laser focused on moving Trump's agenda forward. That's a good bullet. So now here are some about the book. Michael Wolff has a long history of making stuff up. That gets to the point. Bullet number 2, he admits it himself in the introduction to his book when he states he, quote, settled on a version of events I believe to be true, and that, quote, that looseness with the truth, if not with reality itself, are an elemental thread of the book. I think it's an elemental thread of the administration.
Then Stephen Miller went on CNN Saturday and had a breakdown. Sheila, can you in the control room pull that up and play that for us?
President and the White House. The reason why I want to talk about the president and the White House. The reason why I want to talk about the president's experiences, what I've seen with him traveling to meet dozens of foreign leaders, with his incredible work. Okay, you're not answering the questions. No, I understand. You have 24 hours a day of anti-Trump material. You're not going to give 3 minutes for the American people to hear the real experience of Donald Trump. There's one viewer that you care about right now, and you're being obsequious. You're being a fact totem in order to please him. Okay. And I think I've wasted enough of my viewers' time. You know who I care about? As Republicans, lawmakers call for Attorney General Jeff Sessions to resign, in a major reversal, Democrats are now coming to his defense.
And that's what's happening in the chat room with Sheila, who's filling in for Dino's.
Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's Employee of the Month, 2 months in a row. Leave a message at the... Hi, Jamie. It's me, Jamie. I just had a new idea for our song about the Name Your Price tool. So when it's like, tell us what you want to pay, hey, 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 and the trombone goes, wah, 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 and you say, we'll help you find coverage options to fit your budget. Then we just all do finger snaps while a choir goes, savings coming at ya, savings coming at ya. Yes? No? Maybe? Anyway, see your practice tonight. I got new lyrics for the rap break.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
AP Radio News. I'm Ed Donahue. Sources tell the AP Steve Bannon's attorney relayed questions in real time to the White House during yesterday's House Intelligence Committee interview with a former Trump chief strategist. It's unclear who at the White House the attorney was talking to. The AP's Chad Day reports a source also says Bannon will meet with special counsel Robert Mueller's investigators.
So this will be him sitting down with Mueller's prosecutors and investigators to discuss his role in the Trump campaign during his time in the White House. This will be the first time that Bannon has spoken with Mueller, or that Mueller has even expressed interest in talking with him.
It's unclear when that meeting will be held. The White House is firing back after a Republican senator blasted President Trump's attacks on the news media. Here's the AP's Sagar Magani.
Arizona's Jeff Flake says enemy of the people is how Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin referred to his enemies, and it's shameful that President Trump uses the same language in describing American media.
When a figure in power reflexively calls any press that doesn't suit him fake news, it is that person who should be the figure of suspicion, not the press.
Flake is a frequent Trump critic who's retiring this year, and White House spokeswoman Sarah Sanders says his issue isn't really oppression.
He's criticizing the president because he has terrible poll numbers, and he is, I think, looking for some attention. I think it's unfortunate.
Sagar Magani, Washington.
City officials in Paris, California could find no records. The fire department conducted required annual inspections at a home that doubled as a private school, where authorities say 13 malnourished siblings were kept captive in filthy conditions by their parents. David Turpin and his wife Louise were arrested Sunday. At least 8 deaths in the South are being blamed on ice, snow, and cold temperatures in North Carolina. Former NASCAR driver Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s pickup slid off a road and hit a tree. He was not injured. This is AP Radio News. A growing list of actors are expressing regret over working with Woody Allen.
Timothée Chalamet is the latest actor to distance himself from Woody Allen. Chalamet, the breakout star of Call Me By Your Name, says he'll donate his salary from the upcoming Allen movie A Rainy Day in New York to 3 charities fighting sexual abuse. The list who say they're sorry they've worked with the 82-year-old director or won't work with him anymore includes Mira Sorvino, Rebecca Hall, Ellen Page, and David Krumholtz. It coincides with a rising consciousness of sexual misconduct in entertainment and with renewed charges from Allen's adopted daughter Dylan Farrow that he molested her when she was a girl. Allen was investigated but never charged in the case. Warren Levinson, New York.
At the United Nations, U.S. Ambassador Nikki Haley says the U.S. policy in Afghanistan is working.
We are seeing that we're closer to talks with the Taliban and the peace process than we've seen before.
Haley will travel to Afghanistan this weekend. I'm Ed Donahue, AP Radio News.
At the Table with Reverend Bill Miller on STMK Radio 100. Check out Reverend Bill Miller's Bible study radio broadcast live on the new STMK Radio 100 at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Please listen in and support him as he joins the realm of broadcasting to encourage believers and offer the comfort of God to others across the airwaves. At the Table with Reverend Bill Miller on STMK Radio 100. Also, feel free to contact him for prayer, counseling, and conversation at brobill9608@yahoo.com. That's BROBILL9608@yahoo.com. At the Table with Reverend Bill Miller on STMK Radio 100.
I'm your host, Sean L. on Stop the Madness. Keep it 100. We keep it real, and we talk with our people on the street for today's news. See us Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Dino's in the chat room. Our man Saxman on the beat. Tone the Stone, the Diamond Boy sitting in the studio. Listen. With no sugar.
You want to know how to stop the madness? Listen to STMK Radio 100 and keep it 100.
This is Christina in Savannah. I listen to STMK Radio 100 on my way home from work. Every Thursday, they keep it 100.
STMK Radio is where it's at. They keep it real and get the public what they need.
Wait, hold on, brother. If you really want to know what's going on, listen to STMK Radio 100. They keep it real and they stopping the madness.
On STMK Radio 100 with the best talk show on the web. Stop the madness. Keep it 100.
This is Tassie Hawthorne from sunny California, and I listen to STMK Radio 100. Stop the madness. Keep it 100 on Facebook Live.
You're listening to STMK Radio 100. Stop the madness.
You've been tuned in to Stop the Madness, keeping it 100 on STMK Radio 100. And now back to your host one more time, Sean L. Let and Tone the Stump.
Hey, welcome back. I'm your host, Sean L. Tonight in Studio 51, Facebook, we are hooked back up with you. Thank you for being with us. As I told everybody before, if you want to call in live, we're going to open up the phone lines. 866-484-7865. That's 866-484-STMK. Stop the madness. Keep it 100. 866-484-7865. Give us a call, and we're going to put you live on the air. We right here back with Free Fall Thursday, and this is getting ready to get good right here on this part. I love this one. Saxman.
Yeah.
I want to know something, Saxman.
What was that?
I don't know. It's an old age sign.
I'm gonna come back in this because first thing I want to hit, Saxman. Did you see that video that's going around Facebook of the young man in Florida? They broke into the house and the old lady shot him.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Tone running around butt naked on Facebook. Oh no, I seen that one. Yeah, I didn't talk about the one where the young man broke in the lady's house.
Where they said he had to make his money. What he's supposed to do.
Well, this what happened. She wasn't home. She came home and surprised him, and they got into some type of thing, and she pulled out a weapon and popped him. News media came, interviewed her, interviewed the neighbors, and I guess the two girls that the media interviewed really didn't do the young boy no justice. Now,
but they
said the reason why. I'm sorry, it's funny.
Right when they said that if you from the hood, that's what I want to say, Tom.
If you from the hood and you trying to buy sneakers and hoodies, you got to get some money. So they understood why he broke in the white woman's house.
Hey, Facebook Live. I want to say something right here. My man,
the two
Roberto.
girls.
Hey, give us a call,
The
man.
two girls they
And
interviewed.
go
said
live on air with us, because you know you be talking about this all the time.
This is millennials.
Conversation in the shop.
This is millennials. This is Tone the Stone people.
Get the hell out of here.
Hey,
man.
but wait,
those are ignorant.
Wait, Tone, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that.
They said you
I'm not
gotta
saying
understand.
what Sax said is ignorant,
but it's
I'm saying
true though.
what those girls said is ignorant.
Right.
They said, but you gotta understand how else is he gonna
But that's
get
how
his
some
money?
people think, Sax. That's what you have to think. You have to know that
No,
when you
no,
deal
that's
with
what
some of these-
millennials think.
No, come on now.
But,
Ain't no way in hell I'm a condone. He got to buy sneakers.
Man,
he got breaking this person's house to steal they hard-earned.
People been doing it for a long time. They was shooting people over Jordans a long time ago.
Tone Stone. Wait a minute,
No,
Sax.
it's been longer than millennials.
Now, Tone Stone, we're going to go right here over to Tone Stone, okay, because I want to be talking about.
But I got a better video for you, though.
Right, but you get him later. But I want to go right here, Tone Stone, about DACA. Do you think the government should shut down on DACA and we should have a law for the kids that came here not on their own? But
DACA?
Right.
No, man. I mean, these are children. What's the purpose? To send them back to the country where they have no chance or no hope, and they did nothing wrong of their own.
Right. Now, you know Trump deporting everybody. You know everybody getting deported.
That's his plan, yeah.
And you know Hispanics voted heavily for him, and he's throwing them out of the country heavily.
Now, the law-abiding Hispanics voted for him, not the illegals.
Well, right. Well,
he's throwing the illegals up out of here.
He's throwing a lot of people out.
Whoever voted for him. Man.
Trump ain't playing. Wait a minute. I'm going to say this. Trump told you what he was going to do. Yes, Linda Silly, that is the number. 1-866-484-7865.
Call us.
Give us a call.
Come on.
And we're going to put you live on air
I
for
wanna
Free
hear
for
you.
All Thursday.
I want to hear your voice.
And Free for All Thursday, once you go on air, you can say whatever you want to say.
Sax want to talk to you. Come on.
And we're going to get some of the people on. Roberto, I'm going to give you that's it. That's the number. Roberto, I'm going to give you a call again, man, because I need you to come into the studio and sit with me, Tony Stone, and my man Jay Mack and Saxman, because we need some knowledge on some stuff, and you be putting it down, so we really want to get you with us. So, Tone, back to you. Trump's putting everybody out, so do you think they should shut the government down to protect them?
No. If these people can't come to a decision like rational, these are politicians, these are leaders.
Men, right?
These are leaders. If they can't sit down and come to some sort of decision, and like I said earlier in the show, if they can't come to a decision, if they can't come to some mutual workaround or whatever, then why does everything for everybody else have to shut down? All these federal employees that are, the ones that are going to go without pay or whatever, the services that the people are going to have to go without. Why should all this have to happen? Because these people can't do their job, so they can't sit that down with each other and come up with a solution.
J Mac, wait a minute, hold on a second.
It just aggravates me to death.
J Mac, you've been sitting over there all quiet. Come on, tell us about what you're thinking about.
It just really aggravates me to death. I mean, no, seriously.
Oh, I feel you. Come on.
No one in this country from European descent, they're all pilgrims.
All right.
They're foreigners. You know what I'm saying? I don't.
They don't accept that because see, I had this. I asked this question to this millennial who just thinks she just so down with the history.
How old is she?
She's 22, I think.
Okay, that's a millennial.
Yeah.
Well, what was your question?
Well, I said, how is it that you go from Cheerio, pip pip, and all that from England to yeehaw, howdy partner, and all that kind of stuff. She said, well, it was two different white people that came over here. I say, so you answered my question. Your white people came here. You wasn't born here. You wasn't from here.
Or they say that the Indians were savage. They didn't deserve this.
Well, see,
but the question is this:
the yeehaw came from the England, but they evolved. It was an involvement.
But Saxman, let me ask you this:
Sax, when you make statements like that, you make me want to compare you to those young girls in the Jordan tennis shoes.
But you know, I want to say this. We're doing Free for All Thursday, but
go ahead.
When everybody in this country besides the Native Americans came over here, okay?
Everybody.
So
we all foreigners.
We all foreigners. And we have to understand one thing. We are all one people. And this problem of supremacy and all that goes all the way back to the Roman days. So
it's human nature.
Right. So you have to understand one thing, that our new millennials see the world different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they don't see color. A lot of them is in interracial relationships. They see it different.
What
It's
they
the
see?
ha-
They see more status?
Well, no, they see haves and have-nots.
A status.
Right. And I see haves and have-not.
Mhm.
And I'm going to say this because either you got money or you don't have money.
That's status.
And nobody's looking out for the people who don't have money.
Exactly.
That's right there.
And I've been saying that for the longest. It's all about status now.
And-
It's all about what you got.
Charles Reverend Dix is in the house
right.
with us on Facebook Live. We got Jay Mack
My
sitting
man,
here.
that's my man right there.
Reverend,
Dix, what's up,
Reverend
bro?
Dix, you're going to have to come and sit with us. Go ahead and take it for a minute, Tony Stone.
So let's put it like this.
All right,
Jay.
go ahead, Tony.
We talking
give it
about.
up. Give it up.
Hold on, excuse me. 'Cause I don't want to. I hate to keep equating it to a racial thing, white and black. Because if we talk about these young kids in the street, the ones that's out here thugging, whatever you want to call it, they're doing what they're doing. They're trying to dominate whatever purpose, whatever meaning they're trying to find in their life, whether it's misdirected or whatever. They're trying to dominate. You know, if you want to put it around racial terms, you know, white people trying to dominate society. Some of them might be trying to. Men try to dominate women. This is the society we live in. I'm not saying that none of this is right. I'm saying this. You can't break it down in such simple terms and say, well, you know, white people when they want to dominate or they want, you know, it's. What I'm trying to say is you can't relate it to all people. You know, that's the argument I'm always trying to make when y'all talk about the millennials. You can't say it's the millennials, it's this generation, because there's some genius young minds out here in this millennial generation. There's some great people in this millennial generation.
Unfortunately, the ones I've been running into they missed that class.
Well, you a police officer.
Yeah, but see, they automatically gonna hate me.
But let's go to the phone lines right
All
here.
right, go ahead.
On the phone with us, we got a brother that really lays it down. Roberto Leon. Roberto, welcome to Stop the Madness. Keep it 100.
What's up?
Hey, what's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
How you feeling?
What's going on, my man?
Everybody.
You know, this brother right here, I'm going to say this. This brother right here be laying some heavy talk down. And, you know, Roberto, we got some millennials sitting in here in the studio with us.
I don't see no millennials.
We just got one.
We
just got one. We got one.
I got some millennials on my timeline.
If you go to Ustream and click that link, you can come right into the studio with us. I know you was on Facebook Live and YouTube. But let me say this: what is the state? How do you see the state of the black community right now with our kids?
I see them as lost. I see them looking for guidance, but I see them just like the people in my age group did. Many of us looking for guidance in the wrong areas. You know, going to the wrong places for guidance, and basically, it's a cycle, a vicious cycle that's gotten worse from the 70s. You know, there are a lot of variables that go into this, man. It's not this shit didn't happen overnight. It happened over time, and it happened, and there were a lot of things that were done purposely to make this happen too. External things, political, socioeconomic, all kind of things, man. That redlining. There are really too many variables really to even talk about. But when you look at when I talk to the to young black men, I would say between 14 to 16 or 14 to 18, they want the same things we wanted as kids. But the bottom line is that especially in areas of abject poverty, if we were talking about kids over in our way, for example, they don't even the majority, and this is sad because you have East Tech there, a basketball program that's really like putting kids right into Division I schools and whatnot, one of the best in the city. But at the same token, you got kids right across the street that don't believe they can go to college and get an education and even survive in this country.
Right, they don't have that dream.
They don't even believe that that's a possibility, much less a reality.
And the moment you start believing in yourself, then you give up, right?
Well, yes, exactly. You know,
right.
I talked about that today. On my live video about self-pity.
Mm-hmm.
Self-pity separates us from God because it doesn't allow us to believe who we are.
Exactly.
It has us believe that we are what they say we are.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, when we're not that.
If you told that over and 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 over again, by society and people in society, then there's nobody that you can go to that can say, hey, no, that's not true, bruh. You can be somebody in life. You this person, you that person. If you told that you an asshole or you a deplorable or you a shithead, you're gonna start believing that.
Now, Sax, this is now that's funny. That's funny.
What if it starts in the house though?
But that's funny though, Sax. 'Cause I love you to death, and I know you're a good person in your soul. But that's what you do every show. You talk about the millennials like you say that to them in a sense, man.
It's my job, man.
Come on, man.
I have a job to do.
Okay, but look here. We have to distinguish between what's like neighborhood. You know, we crack jokes. You know, that's just what we do in the hood. You know, if you guys start cracking with me right now, I'm gonna tell you right now, y'all gonna be wanting to get the hell off the line.
No, you gotta have thick skin in this world. That's one thing you gotta know.
But by the same token, when we're talking about seriousness, like I'm gonna give you an example, man. You know, I was when I was at Audubon. When I was at Audubon, I had gotten involved into selling dope.
What year was this?
I got in this. We talking 76 through 70. 76 was my last year. Then I went to John Adams.
Yeah, I was already gone.
Okay.
And I just missed you then.
Yeah. Okay, but check this out. I lost myself in that put, man. You know, I was on the first floor bathroom. I went. When I'm talking about now, I'm at John Adams. I'm at the first floor bathroom. I'm running into Hollywood at the back door every day because I'm late. You know, I'm in the detention game. You know, we got our radios up, and I'm going to 4 different big stairs where I'm engaged into a street life, and somebody in the 9th grade told me how smart I was because I was doing 9A1 classes at Audubon. And because they told me that, and I thought I knew every damn thing, and I had bought into this street life, I basically lost myself at that moment. Now, at the age of 14, if somebody had told me, and people did, they tried to tell me. They looked me right in my face and said, man, you're throwing your life away. You have so much power. And there was a teacher there, I know you probably know since you went to Audubon.
Yeah, I went to Audubon.
Mr. Lewis.
Yeah.
Mr. Lewis.
Yeah.
Mr. Lewis is my old good teacher.
Yeah.
Man, dude went over to the, you know how we used to get high in the reservoir over there. Right,
yeah.
He just came out there with a paddle, man.
Yeah, I remember.
And he was on the side of the hill. He came up there in a paddle, walking around the base of the reservoir, yelling my name, and my brother was like, your daddy calling you. You know, and he was like, you know, he was serious. And I you know, he got me about it. He was like, you don't belong out here. I'm going to tell you this. And, you know, we had people that really cared about him.
Yeah.
But still, man, I did what I thought I knew how to do. And basically, because I was a child and not a man, I got lost, man.
Right.
And that's the sad truth for these millennials. It's the sad truth for the people that we passed the hustle on over to in the 80s and the 90s. You know, so the other day when I was talking, and every time I talk to somebody my age, I'm 55 now, right?
Right.
I talk to people my age. I say, look, man, you can't look at them and not see yourself.
Right.
You understand?
Exactly.
You cannot look back and act like you didn't do that shit today.
100% right.
Like you don't have a part to play in that.
Right.
Well, look,
so you know, if you want to keep driving past and going to the church and not stopping on halfway and seeing what's up with these youngsters, you know, and talking with them. If you don't want to go over to King Kennedy and talk, if you don't want to go over to Gardens Alley and talk and Morris Black, if you don't want to go on 105, if you don't want to do these things and really engage these youngsters, get to know them, because they just kids, man.
I remember Mr. Tompkins. I remember Mr. Tompkins. You remember Mr. Tompkins, don't you?
Yeah. You're talking about the shop teacher.
Man, he used to swat. Right? He used to swat us. Yeah. Mr. Tompkins. Mr. Tompkins is the reason. Mr. Tompkins is the reason why I was able to graduate.
But see, we had role models.
He was a role model. Yeah.
But you have to look at our educational system also. That needs to be deeply changed too.
Yeah.
Because.
But until
you mentioned that, brother. Go ahead.
I want to go back to something as I told everybody else. It all starts back with the education of the African back during Reconstruction, okay? And Africans wasn't educated to be free thinkers, okay? They was educated to follow thinking. And that's where all this problem begins. Okay, and that was established after the Bacon Rebellion, because you have to look at it, Roberto, when people go back into history. That's why we have to know our history, or we doomed to repeat it.
Exactly. Now, that's a key element. I'm glad you said that. Go ahead.
You know, so when we go into that and we look at our education failing, as I told people this weekend, and I was talking about it when we did the Martin Luther King thing and we started doing the workshops, our millennials are eager to learn and they want to do the right thing. So we have to start early, just like we did when we had everybody saying no to drugs. We got to go into the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 2nd grade and bring those millennials up and keep a tight lock on them this time. You know.
Well, they got a lot of distractions. They got a lot more distractions.
Okay, but here's something that's taking place in Ohio. Though. Okay, when my oldest boy is 30 now. He graduated from Cleveland School of Arts. I was the president of the Parents Association at the Cleveland School of Arts for about 4 years. And during that time, there was a changeover, and when Barbara Bennett took over, she really, people think that she uplifted, she shitted all over the system, okay?
Right.
Point blank.
Right.
And I was there. I witnessed the shit, okay? Now, we were getting money together, we were doing things in that school. All of a sudden, every Parents Teacher Association got changed into what they call an SOP, okay? I forget what that even stands for now, but we were the Parents Association, and then we got changed over into the SOP. And what they did at that time, too, they placed what they called a parental liaison in the school. Okay, now it sounds like it's when you hear parental liaison, you say, "Oh, well, that's good, man. We got a liaison between the school and the parents and the teachers." And basically, what they were doing were blocking for the school. You know, you would have a person there at the school, and you would go to the school, and you'd want to talk to, in my case, the principal. I'd want to talk to the principal, and they'd sit me down. Okay, I'm off. I'm took off work now. I'm taking an hour off. I'm gonna go up here and talk to the principal. They got me sitting in an office for an hour and a half, and now I got to get back to work. But they really quick to say, hey, parents don't want to be engaged with the children. The bottom line is you create a buffer where you can say that they don't want to be engaged because parents don't have 2 or 3 hours to just sit in the fucking office like we on detention.
Right.
Well, and
you know what I mean?
That's true.
And if you look at when you bring our millennials back in, and I was telling Tony Stone and them this, if you go back into the teachings of the Black Panthers and everything, social engineering of the community is very serious, and that's where it starts at.
Oh, man.
Where they went in
look, the GIs came back from World War II. You understand? They came back from World War II with GI Bills. They were supposed to be able to buy homes anywhere. They were purposely redlined and were not allowed to buy. When you see all of these, when you look at Palmer's a new community. You know, we're talking about 70 years. Well, now we're talking about about 70 years.
7 years.
We're talking about about 70 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
It's a new community. Yeah. All of those communities, all those houses that look like that from the 40s on, those are all new communities. Those were new communities established for veterans with the GI Bill by banks that redlined black people, that told black people they couldn't live there.
Right.
You know, they forced people to live in a community, and then they also forced economic blight and chaos in the 70s when Nixon did away with the urban economic program. Do you remember how many programs you and I had when we were kids? After school programs, swimming and all that. Do you remember that?
I remember all of
all that shit. When we were, by the time we graduated high school, that stuff was gone, man.
Right.
And not only
that stuff was gone.
You had the community. I like to say the village all the time. Like when I go into to the village, because you had the village taking care of the kids, looking out for the kids. I remember that everybody probably don't remember when Alman Evans and them used to be on 110th and past 110th and Parkwood, right there at where. Right. I remember we used to sit in that park right there, Walter Burks Park, and we used to sit in the park.
Yeah.
And they used to come in and talk to us, okay? And this is where I talk about the church being silent. There's no voice from the church, nobody talking out, because I could have picked up a rifle and been on 123rd and Lakeview shooting at a police officer, okay? My best friend got killed over this. So I understand when they were sitting there talking to us, talking about how we had to stand up for our rights, how we had to take back, how we had to make sacrifice. But the women from the church, Great Abbott Senior Baptist Church right there on Tacoma, I never forget them. They came into the park and they took the park back. And that's what took the kids, okay? And what everybody don't realize is back in those days, those were young millennials marching down the street carrying those flags.
Right.
Okay. If you look at all the pictures, you see young millennials.
Yeah, those are young men.
Okay. So our kids, if they properly educated and taught to vote and take over our communities and start
we actually the last of the baby boomers.
Yeah, we definitely are.
Right.
That's
and if you look,
we the last of the baby boomers. Anybody born between before 1964, between 1945 and 1962, when I was 64, when 2 years after I was born, is a baby boomer.
Sax the first and the last of the baby boomers.
Then you had Generation X, and now we're talking about the millennials. Well, the millennials even came after that next generation. I forget what they was calling them.
Somebody said Generation Z is out now.
Well, it's Generation Z. But
I wouldn't doubt it, man.
Roberto,
I don't mean I didn't mean
to Roberto, we're going to have to get you into the studio with us, man. We appreciate you calling in. We're going to have to get you into the studio, and you're going to have to spend a whole show with us. And we're just going to rap about some things because I really want to do a show on the PSTD. And some other things.
PTSD.
PTSD, post-traumatic stress. And I know that you have a story, and I want to get your story out there. So we're going to get together and do a show probably on a Saturday or something. We're going to get you off.
I didn't mean to ramble, y'all, but I get hot when I talk about
that's
this.
okay. That's all good.
Hey, that's the name of the show. Stop the Madness, Keep It 100. That's how we roll like that.
Let's talk about some more about Audubon when we talk again, because that was one of my best times, Audubon.
So we're gonna need you to come with us, brother, and keep showing us some love. And
can I say one more thing? No.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll say one more thing, just about the school system.
Go ahead.
Now, in 1994, it was proven that the state of Ohio, the Ohio legislature, that the way we fund Ohio schools throughout the state of Ohio is unconstitutional. Okay, so we look at a city like Cleveland, where you have maybe, I don't know what the home ownership percentage is now, but I would say, and this would be not a conservative guess, this would be like a very, like looking trying to be as optimistic as possible. I'm saying maybe 60%. Okay, there's that. But I wouldn't even think it was 60% home ownership. Now, the way we fund schools in Ohio is by property taxes. If you only have 60% home ownership, how is 60% of the population supposed to educate 100% of the children? Right. The math doesn't even make sense. Now, on top of that, then you have a public school system that's been drained by charter schools. If you and I open up a charter school today, we can mandate that the Cleveland Municipal School District transport our children. You understand? We're not paying for them to do that. They have to do that for us as a charter school.
And not only that, they have to take money out.
When you talk about charter schools, they don't see them as vacuums sucking the life out of the Cleveland school system. They see them as something else, something really positive. Man, I don't want to. I know that you got. I see your finger rolling, so I'm gonna let you go. What I'm saying is, man, it's so many different variables, so many layers to this shit, man.
Hey, we will get you into the studio, and we're gonna have a whole 2-hour session, and we just gonna wrap it down like that, and we're gonna move on. And thanks, my brother, for giving us a call. We really appreciate you calling in.
Much love and respect to y'all,
much
man.
love, baby.
All right. Thank you.
All right, baby.
Now, that was a brother who really lays it down and goes and really do social media. And he talks really good and very spiritual. And that's what I like about it, very spiritual. But, Free for All Thursday, we opened up the phone lines and we let everything happen. And he was talking about the school system and charter schools. And it's something about when we pay taxes for home ownership in the city of Cleveland. Well, everybody's leaving the city of Cleveland. You got so many vacant and abandoned properties in the city of Cleveland, so many properties being torn down. They're not going toward that market, and we losing that income. Our safety forces are hurting because of that. We had 2 layoffs. We 500 police officers short. It's time for people to start realizing if the city of Cleveland goes, nothing is safe in the city. Far as Palmer, Rocky River, because we talked about that last week with the millennials carjacking people. If you can't eat in your own city, you're going to go where the food is. That's Mother Nature, okay?
Right.
Everybody has to realize that. And your police department is not used to responding to these calls like that. Euclid got a problem. Willowick is finding the same problem. But I'm going to go back on this one question here, and the phone lines are open. I know everybody been called in. We stayed a little bit longer on that one call because that brother had a lot to say, and we're going to get him in the studio.
Long-winded.
But I want to talk about this right here, Tony Stone. The city of Cleveland, well, we on Free Fall Thursday. The NRC flag burners. Remember we talked about that when the guys got arrested for burning the flags.
You said the who though, the NRC?
Right, the National Republican Convention.
Okay, yeah.
Remember we talked about the what was that? The Revolutionary Communist Party coming in with Black Lives Matter and marching with our young kids and all them, and their goal is to take over the federal government or overthrow the federal government. Remember we had that activist on the show with us, and we asked that activist, when did your goal become to overthrow the federal government? And then we found out we had 20 different people marching under the hashtag of Black Lives Matter. Okay, so during the National Republican Convention, they came back in and they set a flag on fire, and the Cleveland Police Department arrested all of them. Well, those felony charges was dropped. One, it was dropped because the United States Supreme Court ruled that burning a flag is free speech and constitutional, and that the police department did not have a right to restrict their protest and burning the flag. So now the city of Cleveland is being sued for $10 million. Saxman, since you're the law man on the block,
okay, here we go.
I'm gonna give you the first one. We went through this. I'm gonna say this now. I'm gonna say this. I don't blame anybody who made this law because it had to start with the chief and them. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the same guy that George Deli arrested for burning the flag at that back when Chief Wahoo was back there. This was like 89, 90. I was on a horse, so I'll never forget that because we had to ride the horse.
Is the same guy burning the flag?
Same guy. Okay. He's the one. This is the case that the Supreme Court ruled on. His case. This is the original case. Okay. So he knew what he was doing. Okay. So they planned this. This was a planned thing. This is where I'm coming back to.
And he played the police like idiots.
Well, no, he played the city officials.
Yeah, he did.
Okay. Right. Because they knew it was going to happen because of the Republicans in town. Everybody's strictly law, and they knew what they was going to do. Now, he went into court. Okay. And he's from San Francisco, so he's not even from the state of Ohio. So they travel around.
They go to incite trouble.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, you know, they are paid protesters.
Right.
Man, you know.
But but they are the People Revolutionary Communist Party. They come to cause anarchy and overthrow the government. That's their role. And to put cities like Cleveland, who
under pressure,
who don't know the Constitution or thinking about the Constitution, trying to show that they can handle law and order.
But they should know it because these are law enforcement. And this is government. So you should know. You should know the Supreme. You should know that you can't arrest that man for burning the flag. There was a Supreme Court ruling on that.
I agree with that. That's what I just told you. This starts with the chief and the safety director and the mayor. Okay, because there should have been some rules in place.
They cracking on my city like this. You know what I'm saying? Pump your brakes.
And now the taxpayers is facing a $10 million lawsuit. Okay, and he's going to get paid. I mean, he's getting paid. Everybody that got arrested during the NRC, and I want to say this.
No, the RNC.
Right, the National Republican Convention.
I was there.
Okay.
I was there.
Yeah, I know you was. That's why I'm going to come to you.
You put the cuffs on him, Sax. It's all your fault.
Let's go back here. Wait, let's go back here to our national audience because our national audience don't understand. There was a lawsuit filed late Wednesday in federal court in the city of Cleveland. Say the city police officers lied when they said Johnson set himself on fire and that the police relied on a statement from people of InfoWars employees to sustain an assault charge against Johnson. What happened was, in the video, everybody can go to the video. It's posted on STMK Radio 100. A group of National Revolutionary Communist Party members made a circle, started a fire. Somebody said that they set fire to somebody. The police came in, end up arresting everybody. Fire extinguishers, a big thing. But they played the video. And they played the video in court. And it clearly shows in the video, and the court has ruled, this is why all the charges was dropped, that they were in a safe and secure location, wasn't threatening no structure, nobody else was in danger, and that Saxman, this is the question I want you to come to later, so I want you to listen to that the law enforcement created the hazard when everybody rushed in to get into the crowd and to distinguish the flag and everything. Now, Mr. Johnson clearly states, and I'm going to give you his statement right here, and I want everybody to understand this. Mr. Johnson clearly states that law enforcement officers told him if he burned the flag, they was coming to get him. Okay? He knew this. He said it in court. They told me if I burned the flag, they was coming to get me, so I burned the flag so they can come get me. Okay? Now, Saxman, as being the law enforcement man on the block here, tell us, how can the supervisors, not the patrolmen and people to go in there, how can the people in charge allow this man to set him up like that to get a $10 million payday?
Can I go to the bathroom first, man?
No, you can't go to the bathroom. We want to know about our tax dollars.
Okay, I'm going to say it like this. Okay, yeah, the man said that. He set that up. That's like saying to Tone, all right, Tone, if I'll come over and kick your tire, what you going to do about it? Tone, you don't want to kicking your tire, even though it's not against the law.
You're saying I shouldn't fall into your trap.
You shouldn't fall in the trap.
And the chief, wait a minute, let me say this right here. Somebody in the chat room just said Chief Williams was on scene and issued the order to disperse.
He did, and see that the officers that you gotta understand, it was a heated situation. It was hostile. The protesters, because I was there where a lot of protesters were trying to come up Lakeside, and the bikers had to come and had to shoo them away because they was looking for soft areas to protest to cause anarchy. And the cops was going everywhere trying to make
But
sure
that's
they
what the
could stop
Communist
that.
Party. Wait a minute, Saxman. That's what the Communist Party do is cause anarchy.
So a lot of the officers was kind of heated and was ready just for any type of confrontation to protect the public.
But
so
wait a
he
minute,
did that.
I think it's more on patriotism.
What?
That's
even
the new
though
drug.
it's not against the law,
that's the new narcotic.
But even though it's
J.
not against the law.
Wait a minute, J. May.
Go ahead.
That's like the biggest narcotic.
Okay, but let me ask you this question because I'm coming right where you at. I'm coming right where you at.
Oh my goodness.
This adrenaline, waving the flag. I call them Daddy Warbucks. The Daddy Warbucks. They seen the flag and they seen this guy light the flag. And you say they got a whiff of that what they call that bad weed, the monkey paw, and they went in there. So you're right, but is it for law enforcement officers? This is what I'm saying right here.
It's looked at as unpatriotic when you burn the flag.
But wait a minute, but the Supreme Court,
half of the law officers are ex-military.
But the law is still the law,
right?
I understand
but
that.
Saxman,
I understand that. It's not against the law to burn a flag.
So, but $10 million, that's how many police officers?
I understand that.
We 500 police officers short.
But wait a minute,
That's all of them and then some more.
But wait a minute, they gave Tamir White's mama.
Well, we're not going to talk about Tamir Rights because
So I'm just saying,
because Tamir Rights. Wait a minute, Tamir Rights
so.
situation is a twofold situation.
I'm saying,
well, hold on,
they
wait a minute,
give away money like
Wait a
that.
minute, but hold on, Saxman, you brought something in here. I got to correct you. Here, okay,
Go ahead.
the Tamir Rights situation was a situation that could not be avoided or handled. See, when you talk about Tamir Rice, this is a situation of a law enforcement officer responding to a heated situation that have to make a decision.
Had to make a second decision.
Okay, so you can't put that on. You can't even compare that to a person in a crowd with a flag and burning a flag. Okay. And costing us $10 million.
It was a judgment call based on Not talking about Tamir Rice. That judgment call was based on his life against his life.
I'm talking about
okay,
that's what Tamir
but
Rice
we
was.
talking about the flag situation.
Right,
that
we're going to the
judgment call
flag.
was based on that police officer looking at it saying he's
He
violating.
took his personal feelings. He put his personal
he
feelings
put his feelings in it.
Let me say this, Saxman, because I'm going to go back to this. I got the paper right here.
All right, go ahead.
This is the same guy that burned the flag in 1984 at the National Republican Convention, got arrested, got
paid.
Wait a minute, got $11.5 million from dollars.
Yeah.
He came into Cleveland in 1989
to do the same thing.
Did the same thing, got paid. It's not like that this hasn't happened over and over and over, okay? So even though the convention was going on, they knew that this guy has won 5 lawsuits on law enforcement divisions, okay,
I understand. Yeah.
for the same thing, okay? So, I mean,
that's why I said they got set up and they
And
got
by
tricked
now,
into
so you
it.
said the first one was in the 80s, 80-something.
1984.
So it's 30 years later, 33 years later.
Right, and he does it all the time.
And this, you said it's the 5th time?
5th time.
So by now, law enforcement, the highest of law enforcement and the highest of leadership in the city, the highest of government, this guy should be on their watch list. We see him.
You would think. You would think.
Yeah, I think that's the point Sean trying to make. How did they fall into this trap?
But what he's doing,
he played him. He played him like a fiddle.
Saxman, wait a minute, hold on.
He played him like a fiddle.
In the chat room on Facebook Live, we have a veteran police officer. Matter of fact, I'm gonna say this was one of my FTOs that when I went into law enforcement, I wasn't old enough, and I had to call him to write my parking tickets for me. I remember that story he told at my thing. And as he said, as a police officer, you have to keep your emotions in check.
You have to.
But I'm just want to say this about that right there. That $10 million that's costing the city of Cleveland, I know they're going to pay him big time. There's 26 people right now. One of the protesters just got paid $175,000.
Is that the one that has spat on the police officer?
I don't know where the arrest is. They arrested 26 people. All 26 cases was dropped. All felony cases was dropped. The state couldn't even go forward because of the United States Supreme Court ruling that anyone standing there when they set that flag on fire had a constitutional right to burn that flag, and the police did not have the right to go in there.
That's what I'm saying. What he was doing, he wasn't breaking the laws, so they shouldn't arrest him.
So he is the big one. We're gonna keep an eye on that case, and we're gonna go back to that case.
If I can say something just real quick, Sax,
they could have got him for causing a disturbance.
How many arrested officers? I mean, was it one? I don't know how it works.
Well, no, it was a team.
It was a team.
By the teams of 10s.
All they had to do was take the flag, stomp it out.
Well, they
and
couldn't
tell
even do
them
that. Well, you know what, Tom? They couldn't even do that.
Why not?
Because
it's his property. He's burning it though.
No,
it got out of hand.
Wait a minute. The Supreme Court ruled, and let me say this in the ruling, and this is what the judge issued the ruling to stop it down. I can burn. You cannot stop me from burning the flag
on a public street.
On a public street, anyway, you cannot stop me. Now, the only thing that is literally saying, if I'm burning the flag right next to Flagans or whatever that bar was, and the bar might catch fire, or one of the banners might catch fire.
Okay.
But if I'm standing in the middle of the street like they was, with y'all circling me, and I'm burning the flag, you cannot take the flag from me. You cannot put it out. You cannot obstruct me.
Right.
Okay. Now, maybe if they'd have took the flag and not arrested nobody, it might have been a different story. But once they took the flag and arrested people, now you violating their constitutional rights.
Now, you actually believe that the guy who burnt the flag just burnt it and shut up. No.
Wait, but you know what?
You know he
Sax,
had
this guy's a mastermind. He done pulled this off 5 times.
You know he had to
This dude is a mastermind.
He had to antagonize those
Saxman,
cops to
it don't make no difference what he did.
I know. I'm just saying that's part. I'm just
$10
giving you the
Hey,
scene.
Hey, I need a payday like that.
That's all he did.
I need a payday like that. Hey, I need a payday like that. I remember the lieutenant, somebody said in the thing, you're on fire. As a matter of fact, that lieutenant that did that came out of the academy with me. I'm not going to say his name. And he's a good guy. He's a good guy. Now, I want to go back to this other one on a free-for-all Friday. Phone lines open. I know everybody was trying to get in, and it was tied up. But the second thing that I want to say is that what's going on right now with the hatred in the thing? a
the hatred here in the city or in the country?
No, in the country.
What's going on with it?
A student at the University of Alabama did a video. A bunch of rant. She was a sorority. We're gonna say the sorority or whatever.
I saw that. I just recently saw that too.
Right. And a nasty rant. Then when somebody checked her on the rant, she put back on video that she wasn't racist because she slept with a black football player after the national championship.
Oh, I missed that one.
Oh yeah, you should have missed that.
She said that? No, I didn't see that either.
Yeah, that's the second video.
Okay, I didn't see the second video.
Now, this is it. I'm going to come down the line. I want all y'all to talk about this on the video. Once the video went viral, because you know anything on Facebook, once it goes viral, it's gone.
Right.
Once the video went viral,
Once it get viral, yeah.
She was expelled from school. Okay, for violence and stuff. She was kicked out of the sorority. Okay. She was sent back home. She was from New Jersey. Okay. And now her parents and them are receiving death threats because up in New Jersey, you know, they have the MS-13 and other gangs there. And when she went viral, that's all they was talking about. Wow. Now, my thing is this. We have a lot of hate in the country, and the country is going on a line where we know that hatred's here. I deal with hatred my whole life. As I told everybody before, when we had the other gentleman on the phone with us, I grew up during Jim Crow era. I was born in the 60s. I grew up in the 60s. I was born in the 50s. I grew up in the 60s. I know about going into stores and you couldn't go in there.
Oh,
I know about when Peter Pan had a factory down on Superior, and some of the Polish kids and them could go in and get peanut butter sandwiches and all that. Us black kids had to go to the back door and get.
We had to go to the back door at Orlando's Bakery to get the hot bread.
Right, the same thing we're talking about.
We couldn't walk up Mandalay.
Well, right. There you go. What I'm talking about during this era. So I understand Jim Crow era, okay? And,
this was the early
and
60s.
the thing. But what I'm saying is, in order to tap this down, Tony Stone, you said something last week. Remember I said something about the millennials, removing them from society. Okay.
Yeah, he
now,
was heated about that.
Now, I want to say this. This is an incident where instead of expelling her from school and ending her education and everything, maybe this is something where we could have educated her and put her in classes and work with her. Okay.
You want me to go first on this one?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I mean, but no, I understand what Sean's saying. To just get rid of somebody for a dumb mistake like that and just cancel their education.
Let my millennial go. Go ahead, Tom.
Oh, but her life ain't over, Sax, and she not being expelled to
she ain't
some
gonna
far,
be able to go to
far
no other school with that.
Well, she don't. A lot of people are successful in this world without a college degree, so she gonna have to figure some other way out. That's her fault. She was stupid. She was stupid. She might not be racist, but she was stupid, especially for putting it online.
So you agree with the punishment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
I don't believe it.
I do.
Wait a minute. He actually agreed with us on the millennial
because you know why? I talked to some millennials about this, and one thing that everybody don't understand, me and my era, we was passive, okay, and we allowed things to happen until it got boiled over to a certain point. We didn't push back. Now the young people today, they're pushing back immediately. They're not taking that,
Right.
and this is the problem that we have when law enforcement officers get into certain situations. Remember, we did the show, and I tried to get the police chief was talking with us, and we was talking about the city immediately come out and talk to the community to tamper that down before it flames up. So that was a big thing right there. So, Jake Mack, what you say about that?
I'm shocked. I think she got a proper punishment.
And Tony Stone,
it's different. If you just some reason you just get irate, but she recorded it and put it out there.
Right, she did it as a joke.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, she did it because and I see where the anger. I see where the anger. Right, I see where the anger come from because she know what day she did it on.
Sack, she didn't belong in college no way if she that stupid.
Right. She
Exactly. Yeah, she's educated. That's what I'm saying.
Wait a minute,
She did it. She did it on Martin Luther King Day,
yeah.
and she did it in the middle of the celebration.
Yeah.
And this is something that everybody has to understand: is when we talk about togetherness, people don't understand. We're not isolationists. We talk about everybody. We include everybody. We show love to everybody. We reach out to that nucleus. Okay, so it's not that we just talking about us.
I'm shocked that the Diamond Boy over there wants some punishment for Millennial. Any other time he's pleading a case. He's the public defender for the Millennial.
I say punish everybody accordingly and fairly.
But
it's the difference between.
She did, like you said, as a joke or just to be famous on Facebook, get her 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's all.
Exactly. She got 15 minutes, all right.
Yeah,
So now she can live with her shame for a few years, and then she can suck it up and be like, you know what, I made a terrible mistake. I got to do what I got to do to right my life.
That's tragic though, when you want to cancel somebody who's trying to better themselves and like they made a stupid mistake.
She don't sound like she's trying to better herself. Like that's
I can't believe y'all. This last week they was going hard on the millennials.
Yeah, but see,
I can't believe this.
But see, think about it. She said, "Well, I'm not racist because I sleep with a black man." Well, hell, back in the racism days, they slept with our black women, and they still kept us in slavery. So it don't matter who that you sleep with another race. If you're racist, you're racist. You just a horny racist. You want to you screw a black man, you still a racist. Don't
was that the video you sent me? Nah,
that's the video I saw you in.
but let me ask you this right here, okay?
You seen that video, didn't you?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the
other video. Okay.
Let's go to this other one for Free Fall Thursday right here. We just got up from the AP reporting that House signed a temporary spending bill, so they didn't shut down.
All right.
I don't know the particulars of it yet. So.
That's that good old funk. This the music you was conceived to, Sax, right
here. In the backseat of the Chevy. That's a good one.
Yeah, man. So
no, wait. Now back to that video we talking about. I sent
which one?
The one that say "Call me an N word again."
Yeah.
And this is what. Oh my God! Did he put it to her? He put it to her. Now, if we can all do that, I think we can get over racism. We can get over the fact that we was held in bondage, and we can get on our life.
That's all it takes. A little
That's all
sexual
it takes.
healing.
A little sexual healing. Tell me, get your back.
Hey, that's the way it go right
a
there.
Sexual healing.
Hey, but right here on the phone with us, we got Economic Mob.
Oh my God, where you been, man?
You know me, man, just staying out of the way. What's going on, man? What's up, Stone?
Sean owes me $1 because he had lost the bet.
Yeah, we was waiting for you to come to the studio with us, Economic Mob. But, I'm glad that you called into the show because, we was talking about this earlier, and you are the man to put it down. Tell them about the haves and have-nots and the education of the African to the state that we are in right now.
Here we go.
You know what I'm going to try to do? I'm going to try to see if I can do it within like a minute's time.
No, go ahead and go ahead and take about 3-4 minutes. We want to hear this because I want you to break it down for us.
3-4 minutes? Oh my God. Go ahead.
Okay. I listened to the dialogue and the whole conversation that you were having. You talked about a multitude of subjects as far as generational cohorts, made comparisons between like the millennials being Generation X and the baby boomers. You talked about the differences in crime. Okay, to deal with that situation first, I think that the social conditions that were going on, as well as the social challenges that the baby boomers were facing as far as the civil rights movements, maybe certain things that were influential as far as the media was concerned, to like shape the core values and attributed to like individuals functioning in the community from a very, very cohesive perspective. When you look at the Generation Y, at the millennials, their situation is far more different than ours, okay? We pretty much have acculturated or been absorbed into a culture based on those extreme challenges we face. But this is a generation of individuals who are seeking to express their creativity, their expecting for us to pass them the torch so they can actually become more accountable or responsible. They are ones who, while they value what we went through, and they acknowledge, slavery, Jim Crow movement, civil rights movement, they still want to basically do things, empower themselves to actually set a social and economic mandate. Now, when you look at our community, one of the severe problems that I see is that based on us basically being embedded within a second-class citizenship, that we basically utilize mental, social, and economic sexualization where we become extremely predatory upon each other. And in doing so, that means that we are pretty much trying to go and make a power grab from an individual perspective where we are preying on each other. That doesn't mean that the individuals are doing the preying in all actuality should be thrown to the wayside. It should be handled in the same way a scenario in which a bullying situation would be handled.
Right.
Okay, within our community, okay, we already have Uncle Sam or a father who hides himself behind religious images of Uncle Sam, but it's a patriarchal system where we never really had the ability to be able to bring our political, social, cultural prowess to evolution. So therefore, we're going to have these conflicts. We can participate in the political system, Brother Charnel, but until we begin to look at it and examine it and come to the conclusion that it's not a system that's built to advance us, it's one built to oppress us, and begin to build mirror-like type systems where we can actually form a monopoly through previous type or prior political-like type of consensus, then there's no way we can elect grassroots individuals, leaders, church leaders.
But the church is silent. But let me ask you this question:
Yeah, very
when you look at the system itself, how can you even begin to understand or do the system that was not meant for you? Okay, so when you go back,
go ahead.
The system in itself, Brother Charnel, is very easy to understand. It's not for you. As a matter of fact, it's not even for the individuals who actually call themselves white. It never was created to basically benefit those individuals. It was created to basically categorize individuals utilizing wealth and economic disparities to the point where it gives them the illusion of this system. But we can't concern ourselves with that because we're the second-class citizens of an illusionary system. You see what I mean?
That's correct. Go ahead.
So therefore, we have individuals within our communities. We got the Moors, we got the Masons, you know what I mean? We got the Shriners, we got the Egyptian mystery. We got individuals who actually possess the knowledge to create a symposium to be able to share this information, but we have knowing agent provocateurs and individuals who would actually get in our way of basically being able to successfully set up some type of forums or social avenues in order for us to actually make progress because they do not see what you see.
So
you're saying what you see, Sean.
Wait a minute. So wait a minute. Hold on a sec. So you're saying we have Nat Turners whose job is to stop the advancement.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
And that's probably so. You know what, brother? What else we got? Like these groups that you mentioned, the Moors, of the Nation of Islam, the Muslims, whoever. Like we got them, with the exception of the Nation of Islam. You know, like they're pretty much established. Like anywhere you go, they got a foothold. They got some kind of foothold, especially in these inner cities. The Moors, more or less, though, people might have heard of them, but they're not. It doesn't seem like they're as influential.
They're not, because not everybody know what a
Moor
Moor
is.
is.
Active in the communities, as they were maybe just 30, 40 years ago.
A lot of them don't know.
You know what, Throwing a Stone? But see, I'm a Moor. I'm a Mason. I'm a Muslim. I'm a multitude of things, but until we actually look at what's working within each and every one of those perceived cultures and actually allow them to basically become absorbed upon the multitude of principles and develop something that would be socially, economically, and politically applicable in society today, then none of those systems are beneficiary, not even Christianity. None of these systems are beneficiary until we become the same thing that actually molded us to basically move towards greatness. Now, keeping it real, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to be done. Christianity never was Christianity until we began to suffer. Once we began to get introduced to Christianity, even if you look at the Bible or the Torah, the beauty and the genius associated with the creativity of God and the coming of the Messiah, Christ, actually didn't have any significance until a people was put in place to suffer to basically project or show God-like type forgiveness for some individuals.
And that's been all the way down the way. That's been all the way down the way.
But Dark Man, think about this. What were the Africans worshiping before they become slave in America? Who and what was they worshiping in Africa? Because they never knew of Jesus Christ or Jehovah or anything over in Africa. So who and what was they worshiping in Africa?
Well, some African cultures did. That's what people.
Well, wait a minute. They never knew of Jesus.
Wait a minute. Hold up, everybody. I hate there, but stop everybody right there. Economic Mob, you're gonna have to come into the studio with us, and we're gonna have to sit down and really get that and wrap that down right there. And hey. But we appreciate.
That might be better, brother.
Hey, it's got to be live because our time is short, and we appreciate you, brother, for coming in with us.
This time, show up.
and we're gonna get you in the studio.
You know I'm gonna get you, Dark Man.
Hey, everybody, Tone the Stone.
Man, face as big, I can't lose. Sugar bow down, I'm the next to rule, but I'ma stay on the cool, remain on the under, cause like Andre 3000, your boy's ice cold. Ain't no limit to the gimmicks and ways to make money. No limit to the just to act funny when you get that cake, cause you spit that way. They may love you tomorrow when they hate you today, but yo, that's the way the story goes, so I was told. Following the rainbow down the yellow brick road, please believe at the end ain't no pie to go. Just some platinum beats from the Cleveland streets.
Hey, everybody, we'd like to thank you for being with us on our Free Fall Thursday and coming in. Hey, Roberto, we're going to get you in the studio. Thank you for calling in. Economic Mob, that brother's real deep, Tony Stone. I mean, he's really deep, and he go in. We got to get him in here so we can get it. J Max in the house with us, sitting in the chair.
Hello, how everybody
Hey,
doing?
J Mac, we know we're going to get you back in because you're going to have to start telling us what's going on in the shop. So, Tony Stone, tell us what's going on with you.
Same old. Another good show. Want to say much love to you, Sax, Jay, once again. All the callers that calling in. Right. We definitely appreciate y'all. Shout out y'all information, y'all input. And, yeah, if y'all want to come in, whenever y'all want to come in, we got to get you in here so we can do it live.
Oh, yeah, we got to do it live. In the studio with us, J Mac and Charles Dick's been sitting with us in Facebook listening to you, brother.
Right there,
so
Charles
go ahead
Dix.
and let them know what's going on.
Yeah, Charles, we got to get Charles Dixon here, man. That's a good friend of mine, man. Good friend of mine.
So before we walk out, J Max, what you want to tell the good people?
So thanks for checking in with us, though. Thank you. I appreciate that. Just watch us grow. We're going to be here. We ain't going nowhere.
Our man sitting on the beat is in the studio. Saxman.
I want to make sure I get a fade like yours. Yours is bumpy.
Like I'm saying, we can't get in the studio.
Can't get a fade like that.
Hey, Saxman.
You ain't got no hair on the top of your head.
That brother right there getting ready. He gonna hook us up because I ain't had a good fade since I left. I got out of uniform.
So regular, he ain't had one either. I don't know what
I'm a couple weeks off.
Don't no Clippers.
I'm working. I'm working, man. I'm busy, man.
But Saxman,
and it's cold outside too.
Hey, Saxman, thanks for coming into the studio with us, man. Hey, we know we love it when you in here with us because we get to really go deep on some stuff.
Yeah, y'all get to go deep and mess with somebody. That's what you trying to go up in somebody like Tone. That's okay.
Hey, everybody, hey, we had a lot of good people calling us in from the 216 and also from Atlanta. Michael Wilkins in the house, and Michael Wilkins wanted to let Saxman know.
Either you're part of the solution or goddammit you are the fucking problem. Either you're part of the solution or goddammit you.
Michael Wilkins, we appreciate you there in L.A. listening to us. Facebook Live, YouTube, Snapchat, and on our streaming TV and our 22 affiliates. We appreciate all y'all for coming in. And we got a lot more coming. We're going to have some more good shows. And for Free Fall Thursday, we really going to step in and let it go. As always, I'm your host, Chanel. And thank you for being with us tonight. Peace.
You've been listening to Stop the Madness, Keep It 100 on STMK Radio 100.